The 2024 World Triathlon Championship finals, Torremolinos, are just days away. From the 17th to the 20th of October, Spain's south coast gets ready to host 4 days of World Championship racing. And you can watch it all on triathlonlive.tv. We'll get to see if Olympic champions Alex Yee and Cassandra Bogron can go all the way in the World Championships. We have under 23 and junior world titles and relays, para world championships, and the first ever para mixed relay world championships, as well as age group action aplenty too. At the start of October though, we caught up with USA's John Reid, the young rising star as he chases the under 23 title and sets his targets to LA. Next up, we'll be hearing from Sweden's 2022 Junior World Champion Tilda Manson on her meteoric rise to the Paris 2024 start line. That will be out soon. For now, thanks for listening and enjoy the pod. The USA's John Reid has been enjoying quite the breakout year in 2024, a year that saw him retain his under 23 continental title either side of World Cups in Oceania, continue with World Cups in Chengdu, Huatulco and Tizi, first WTCS in Hamburg, first World Cup win in Karlovy Vary, and most recently 15th place finish in Weihai. Next up, it's the under 23 World Champs on the schedule for the 2024 Championship Finals Torremolinos. So John, welcome to the podcast. How are you? Where are you?
Thank you. Yeah, honored to be on the podcast. Currently, I'm in Vichy, France. They just had Euros here, actually.
Yeah.
2 weekends ago, something like that. But yeah, my training group is out here, and I came out end of August, and we'll stay here till we head to Spain for under 23 Worlds. And it's been nice, just kind of basing out of Europe makes travel a little bit easier.
For sure. Extended Europe session as well then. All right, let's give us some names in the training group.
Dar Smith,
yep.
Ryan Luzak, and then my coach Ryan Bolton works with a long course athlete, Ben Hoffman. Mm-hmm. So he hops in and he's working with he's a guide this year, and he was last year for some para. So he hops in for a couple sessions, which is pretty fun. And then there's a couple girls that they're all in the US. We have the CRP, which is like collegiate recruitment program. So 3 of them are like ex-collegiate runners, and then 1 of them is an ex-collegiate swimmer, all kind of working their way into development. So it's a bit interesting of a group. There's a wide range of development, but it's pretty fun because, I mean, you throw some of those girls on the track and it's a bit, bit feet to the fire. Yeah. And then the same thing with Caroline in the pool. They're fast. So it's pretty fun.
And were you actually there for the European champs then?
Yeah, that was fun. It's fun to watch and know what they're going through and not really have to be in it. Like I'll watch other races on Triathlon Live, but to actually be in person and be like, I have no stress. That was pretty fun. And it was really both the women's and the men's super good races. So it was fun to be around and kind of scope out.
So you got there in August. Was that in between the Olympics and the Paralympics then?
No, I guess it was. I showed up, and then the para team was also based out of here, and our Olympic team some of them were based out of here before Paris. So that was fun. I came on the tail end of Paris camp and got to hang out with them for a couple days, and then they headed off, and then kind of the rest of my group showed up.
How was the tail end of a pre-Olympic training camp then? Were like tensions high, nerves on show, or what did you
well, so I didn't really get to see any of the Olympic camp. The pair of people, at least the guys that I was hanging out with, are probably some of the coolest guys I know or have gotten to meet, and they're just chillers. And they're chillers, but they were all super dialed in. And like I hopped in, one of the guys, Carson, was like, "Oh, surely you're hopping in on the track workout I got to do." And I just had like kind of an easier run, but I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll pull you through some Ks. And then, we probably started out at like 3 flat and worked down just a bit. and that was not what I had on the docket. But I was like, I mean, I started the session, I was like, I can't get dropped. So I was incredibly impressed with all them, and it was really cool to see.
Ryan's there on the sideline, just like, God's
Yeah, he's
sake,
like,
John.
yeah, yeah, I had to hide that one in Training Peaks.
Yeah, Carson's quite a newcomer to the team as well, right? He was kind of one of those that's been talent ID'd and brought in.
Yep.
It's fly.
Yeah, but I mean, just insane. He's super strong all around. And I mean, it showed with a silver.
You didn't race as a junior, right? So
Yeah,
just
yeah,
just
that's correct.
give us the background a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The commentators always say that I have a run background,
Right.
or what my parents tell me. And I didn't start running till I got into college. And so I actually have a swim background, which hopefully that starts showing up sometime. That would be nice. But yeah, I swam throughout high school and then didn't really get recruited anywhere that I really wanted to go college wise. And then COVID hit and I was like, I'm pretty burnt out. I'm done with this. So then wanted to stay, relatively fit. So I picked up biking and I was trying to run a little bit, but coming from just swimming, every other week. It was just a different thing, shins, hips, ankles, whatever. But I really liked biking. And my dad had like an old TT bike. So I was just out on like a super old Cervelo with a Walmart helmet and like a sleeveless kit. And I just looked like an idiot probably, but I had a lot of fun. And then I went to University of Utah my freshman year and honestly just rode around a little bit. It was fun exploring Utah. It's pretty cool. And then
Mm.
kind of end of my freshman year, I got plugged in with a coach out there, Wes Johnson, and he totally just kind of immersed me into everything that short course is. And I hadn't swam in a year, and I was a pretty horrific runner, and he kind of built a team around and did a lot with biomechanics on my run, and just kind of developed and pushed me. We had maybe worked together for a month, and he was like, "Oh, there's a in the U.S. to get your like elite license, they have a couple qualifying races." And he was like, "Oh, there's one in a month," and I was like, "Dude, I don't know about that." Um, but everything just kind of worked into place. Like it was full, but he knew one of his athletes was injured, so that guy was pulling out. I ended up getting second or third there, so I got my elite license, and then did a couple more races. That was like 2021, and then uh, at the start of 2022, I kind of switched with my university schedule and was able to do a lot more online. So then I was able to race more and travel a bit more. Um, and then yeah, I did under 23s was my big one that year. And that was fun because I probably had zero results, and then ended up getting ninth, but was up front for a little bit, and that was kind of the first time I really tasted, oh, this is so sick, just being in the race. And so that was really cool. And
Leading a
then
pack through the streets of Abu Dhabi and the baking.
yeah, oh, it was nuts.
Yeah, this is the one.
Um, had you asked me 3 or 4 years ago if this is what my plan was or what I really thought was in the deck, uh, I would have laughed at you and be like, no shot. So it's pretty cool just to look back and be like, I think my career so far has been fairly short, but I feel like I've done some pretty cool things and gone to some cool places and met some cool people. So can't really ask for more.
And you were kind of taken under the wing of Eric Lagerstrom and Paula Finlay as well, right? As one
Yeah.
of their development athletes. How did that sort of come about? When did it come about? And what's the story?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my friends could probably attest to it. I love all the triathlon content, and they're probably at the pinnacle of it. And I think what they do is super cool, and just the life that they live, and the kind of the way they do things, I think is pretty out of the box and different compared to most triathletes. And Um, and just the progression of both of their careers is something that I look at, and I think that's awesome and something I'd hope, hopefully I can replicate. But yeah, I mean, I've followed them for a long, or kind of as long as I've been in the sport, and I saw that, that they had the applications up, so I was like, oh yeah, shoot my shot, see what happens. And luckily I got it, and they've been great just in terms of uh, support and knowledge. I was talking to Eric the other week, just kind of brainstorming ideas to uh,
He's
grow
kind of
with sponsors or something like that, because I mean, they've been in the sport for so long, and they've gone through short course and long course and all that. So it's cool just to have that wealth of knowledge, access to that.
hmm. Yeah, he's been there and done it well, as has Paula obviously as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Like we get some kit, and some of their partners have kind of partnered on to help out as well, which is super cool. So a bit of equipment, some financial help. And what's really cool too is that I think majority of the financial assistance comes from like kit sales that they do at the beginning of the year. So then you're really supported by, their whole TTL community that they've developed,
yeah,
which I think is just, yeah, I mean, it's just rad.
yeah,
And then it's a bummer. I think most of their base is probably out of the US, but, um, and I did the Super Tri race in Boston, and that's the only, or I guess I was in Miami, but, that was the first time there were like some TTL supporters out there. So it was pretty cool having them, cheer me on, and they just kind of know me from, whatever they've thrown up on their Instagrams and stuff. So that was cool.
and then there was a face to face with the triathlon mockery development athlete Max Stapley as well in Weihai, right? That was like the two.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I was staring at his back for a while on the run and couldn't quite manage to close that gap.
Join the TikToks as well, and that's nice to see like different a different vibe on there. Like
Yeah.
those little things. Yeah, it's just when someone's like more comfortable in what they're doing, and actually the guys that do the Project Podium stuff. And like it's just lots of Q&As right on the track, or and I
Yeah.
just find those no brilliant, way more entertaining and just
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's trying to create I think that's one thing that, Paul and Eric, they've kind of created their own spin, and it's not just here's what I eat in a day, here's the daily vlog, and then trying to, which I haven't been super consistent with it, but uh
yeah.
trying to put a unique spin where you're telling your story a little bit and just sharing, it doesn't have to be some hype song and just you running on the track type of thing. Like, you can be goofing around. Yeah. But then, I mean, it's cool too. Like I should have done some in Weihai just because, I mean, it's such a unique place, and I guess I felt a bit more comfortable like showing up to Chengdu. I was like, all right, buckle in. I have no clue what this is going to be like.
How did you find
Uh,
it there actually? Because like I don't know, the, I mean, obviously you can basically just get by on, and it's quite good in some ways to go safe and just lots of rice and da da da. But
yeah.
my God, you do need.
In Chengdu or Weihai?
Well, I know that Chengdu I thought was all right, but then I know in Weihai some of the team they're in a different hotel, but they're having a bit of a hard time with just like
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit sketchy. Like we showed up, and as we were checking in, we had to sign a document that was basically like, you don't eat outside of the hotel because stuff could be contaminated. And I
yeah,
think it was like even our stuff could be contaminated, but at least we can trace it back to the hotel. So, I mean, you sign that, and it was just breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the hotel.
yeah.
They actually had some decent, Dara and I got coffee at two different spots. And at one of the spots we ended up, I think it was like a opening or something, and we met the owner, and I think we have free drinks for the rest of our life, which is pretty sick. Yeah, I don't know if it was like fantastic. I absolutely love this, but it was kind of nice where everybody's in the same boat. So it's not like we're just getting screwed over here, eating horrible food, and GVs just living the life, which was kind of nice.
Yeah.
Um, Weihai was beautiful. It reminded me a lot of Tongyong.
Yeah.
Um, some of the aerial shots from, going up you can see the switchbacks in Weihai. Like I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. And then the water's pretty and brutal travel as well. But like, I mean, we drove to Paris and then it's, 12-hour flight to Beijing. And then somehow we had like on both leaving and entering, like a 9-hour layover in Beijing. So then we ripped to like a airport hotel and just got a room for a couple hours, which was pretty nice.
I
And
mean,
on the way back, Dara and I swung into Beijing and then checked out like the silk market and all the
oh
fake
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, you
So
managed to squeeze a few good sights in, did you?
yeah, yeah. Watching Dar barter with the guys is pretty awesome
Pretty
too.
good time.
He's got a
You must
knack
have
for
filmed some
that.
of that
So
for TikTok, didn't you?
dude, I honestly didn't. I should have because it was insane. And if he's got a talent or a skill at anything, it's bartering with Chinese women for overpriced fake Prada glasses or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Excellent. What was his fundamental tactic? Like getting closer and louder, or
Yeah, there's a lot of that, and then just, I mean, he'd completely lowball them, and then he'd be like, "Oh,
classic?
I'm a poor student. I don't have money for this. You got to help me out." And then, I mean, if they really weren't buying it, he'd just walk away and then they'd lose it and they'd be like, pulling him
I'm
back
back.
in. So it was pretty funny. But
Yeah. 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 I think the lesson is right. It's just like you got to have that instinct of just, I'm just going to film this. I'm just going to film this.
yeah, yeah, no, honestly, got to build the brand somehow, get some views.
A good hit out there though. Like, you look like you're having a good time making these pretty giant leaps in quite a short space of time.
I think there are some things where I'm like, oh, I'm pretty glad that I haven't been in the sport for the last 10 years. Just because I think everything is still pretty fresh and a novelty, and uh, and I think that helps out a lot. Yeah, but then there are definitely some things still working on my T2. I always seem to come in the back in that, but little things where I think some guys pick up as juniors, just the rhythm of things, and then the time they hit elite and whatnot. It's just pretty habitual and kind of rinse and repeat. Uh, so some stuff I feel like has been a bit of a crash course, and I'm still really trying to figure it out. But in the bike and way high, we kind of clawed back on Matt Hauser and Hayden Wild and Pierre Lacour, and so you're in a bike pack with uh, some of the best in the world, and top dogs from Paris. So that was pretty cool. And I mean, Hayden took off on the run, and I never really ran with him, but was kind of running with Pierre for a little bit, and things like that. It's just super cool, and I think I get some energy from that, where it's like, I am kind of in the mix.
Yeah. Do you get a sense of like a pecking order and a hierarchy and stuff? Were all the athletes staying in the same hotel in Weihai as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, they were.
I mean, it's a
I
friendly
don't think I'm.
atmosphere, right? But I
Yeah,
you just never know.
I don't think I'm like that in on the social circle of everyone to really like pick up on a pecking order. I guess, I mean, obviously I know who the top dogs are, but it's still, I think you kind of got to go in with the mindset of don't give an inch. Like, uh, sure they were on the podium in Paris, but it's anybody's day, I guess. I think if you start giving, letting people slot in or whatever, that's how you end up at the back of the pack, and that's how you get dropped. So kind of got to go in and put the blinders on to, who they are, I
Yeah.
guess. I didn't quite have the swim that I was hoping to have there, but yeah, I mean, Ryan and I talking, in the lead up to the race, I think we both thought, there's potential for it to be really good. And he was like, dude, if you end up in a situation with, medalist to your right and medalist to your left, uh, he was like, don't back off, just be comfortable. And it's like you ended up in that position for a reason. Obviously it didn't happen, but yeah, that's just kind of how we
Yeah.
entered into it. And
If you're in that position
you
and
kind of got to fake it till you make it.
also, I guess interesting being in a race like that, compared to Hamburg, your first WTCS. You got guys on that start list that have raced that course 8, 9, 10 times. Weihai, nobody knew what the heck was going on until they got there and got on the ground. And so I guess from that side, at least, it was a bit of a leveler, was it?
Yeah, definitely. And then I think it was a bit different, just sprint distance versus Olympic distance World Series. And then, um, there were still some, I guess there were still some big names missing from Weihai, but, I would say a lot of those really top contenders weren't in Hamburg just with it being 2 weeks out. Um, so I feel like Weihai was a bit more of a complete WTCS field. So it was just fun to try and get your neck into it.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose coming into T2, you talking about the transition there, and I think it was Adrian Brifford just rocketed out of there. I
Oh yeah.
watching it back, I was like, okay, where's John? Oh, right, he's there. And then it's almost as you were still, you came in basically together, and almost as you're still racking, he's gone.
Yeah.
What's what's the key there? Do you reckon? Like, where are you shaving off those seconds? That
I think I think one thing that I've really struggled with is just kind of the approach into it. And that's where everybody gets, their elbows out and really pushing and I don't know if I'm the biggest risk taker out there, and so then for a race like Weihai, I mean, you're bombing down the hill at, 45 miles an hour,
basically,
straight into hitting the brakes,
yeah,
and dismounting, so that was a bit sketchy. And you have guys that are just bombing, to the left and right of you, and you're like trying to hold your position, but it just gets a bit dicey. But honestly, that's kind of how it feels in every race where it's just that last, uh, a half mile, 800 meters or whatever. Everybody's just really fighting for positions. And so it's, because I mean, you can have the same T2 split, but if some guy gets in there, and you're at the back of 30 people or 20 people, like he's already got 10 seconds up on you. Um, that's and then in this kind of racing, that's just a 10-second gap where guys, it's just hard to close. So I think it's just got to be more aggressive, which is easier said than done. And then also like trying to figure out, I always get my hands get really shaky putting my shoes on coming off the bike just because I mean it's been full gas and some guys it's just boom, slide it on and they're gone and then I'm over there fumbling with my shoes. So I got to figure out,
yeah.
I've played with some things, but it's got to figure out how to just be a bit smoother and steadier in there because I think that'll just ultimately help me be faster.
A shoehorn, freaking
Yeah,
get loads.
honestly, yeah.
Because Hayden wasn't too far, like maybe two or three people just in front of you as you came out on the run. Like, was that? Did you clock him early and think, right, that would be a target, or was it that's definitely not the right target for me right now? And
Yeah, I mean he rocketed out pretty quick. And the first lap on the run, I felt pretty horrific, which was a bummer just because I felt like on the start of the second lap I really came around. Um, and by that point, like Pierre, Surratt, and uh, I think it was Hojo, all had maybe like a 8-10 second gap on me.
mm,
Just off that first lap, and then it basically just stayed the same. They all ended up sprinting and probably blew it out a bit more, but for the next 5-6K, I was trying to close the gap, but it was just stuck at like that 5 to 10 seconds, and and that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I mean Hayden launched out of there pretty quick. It's like
yeah,
see ya.
yeah. Is that? I guess similar to like the shaking hands with the trying to get the shoes on. Is it just after the exertions of 40K and being rattled, and sometimes you just got to build into that run, and sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's shorter.
Yeah, I think so. And I was kind of upset at myself where I think, um, 10K is a bit tough where I mean, it's definitely long and especially after, a hard 40K on the bike. And so it's like a bit of a mind game where Surratt came by and really started pushing. And I think I just needed to commit for like 800 meters just to stick it out. You know, and it was going to hurt really bad, you know, but then you're in your head and you're like, I should probably try and keep it a little steadier so I don't blow up. And, uh, you know, I think that was one where I should have just tried to sell out a little bit more for, you know, 2, 3 minutes and then just, you know, because then I think ultimately they did settle out, or I just kind of got into a better groove. Um, you know, so I think that was one after the race where I was kicking myself a little bit because they did end up catching up to Max and Simon, you know, and Pierre got into 10th or 9th or something like that. So, uh, you know, the potential for a top 10 was still there, and felt like I just kind of let that one slide away from me. Yeah, I guess just lots of decisions, and I think still kind of building that gut instinct of, all right, now you really got to push, or okay, you can afford to be a little steadier. Yeah, I think that just comes with more racing.
Yeah. That Karlovy Vary win must have been a real head turner as well, and just a big moment. I mean, well, let's start with the place. It's a wacky place, right? When you first get in there and you're walking around and you feel like you're in like a fairy tale or something.
Totally. Yeah, it was cool, and that was, I mean, honestly, I was pretty happy going from there to Weihai. Just both hilly courses, a bit of definitely a different hill, you know, but super dynamic course. Like the swim's kind of nuts too. Just with, it's not just an out and back, like you're swimming kind of all over this pond. Bike was full on, and the run was a bit hillier than I thought it was going to be. My coach was like, "Oh yeah, it's not hilly at all." And then I'm running the course, and I'm like, "Dude, there's a couple like uphills," and I was like, and I know those aren't going to feel too good after the bike. But yeah, super cool place. I mean, just picturesque, colorful buildings, you know, pastels and whatever, and cobbles, and just, yeah, super cool to race there.
That was obviously where Morgan did his like solo, pretty much the whole 10K. I think no, it was because he bolted away at least towards the end of the bike, didn't he?
Yeah, I rewatched it kind of in the lead up, and I think he broke, you know, maybe lap 6 of 8 or something, and then just held that.
Yeah,
came in with 30 seconds, and then good luck trying to run 30 seconds into Morgan when he's feeling good. So,
and he really was like he was. I remember him like buoying up the crowd and doing little chants and
yeah,
punching the inflatable.
when he feels good, he's a dangerous athlete, and it's annoying how good he is.
Well, your year started like on his shoulder in my well, no, I suppose Napier was before it, but yeah, the Continental Champs was Miami, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that one of the first times you'd raced with him, and like again as sort of formative experiences, I guess that kind of thing, and with Dar Smith was up there like in a little sense as compared to like being on those WTCS starts as well, right?
Okay. Yeah, that was cool. I honestly, I think that might have been the first time I raced Morgan. Yeah, and I kind of knew like Dar and Diego Moya and Chase were gonna drill the swim, and so I was like, all right, Morgan might be a little further back from them. Yeah, but I was like, Morgan's probably end of that pack on the bike, and I don't think anybody else is catching that train. So I was like, all right, you gotta be out with Morgan. You know, which I think I came. One of us, we were just right next to each other coming out of the water, so I was like, all right, this is a good spot. And then we weren't too far behind Dar and all of them, and then we rode pretty well together. And then off on the run, I kind of figured it would be down to the three of us, Dar, Morgan, and I. And really just fighting for second and third with Dar, because I was like, if Morgan wants to just drop a couple 240 Ks, he can probably do that. And I don't know if Dar and I can do that. But yeah, I ran both of those two broke off a little bit. And then it was kind of similar to Weihai, where then Dar just kind of sat like 15, 20 seconds in front of me, and the gap never really went out, and I could never really close it, and he didn't fade. But yeah, I was pretty happy with that that result. I'd won the year previous, so a bit bummed to not keep my title, but um, yeah, it's cool. And Ryan coaches all three of us, which was super special as well.
Yeah, yeah. Held on to that U23 title though.
Yeah,
How old is Dar? Dar's still, he can't be more than like 25, is he? I mean,
25 or 26,
right.
1998. I just remember people by
Yeah,
their little World Triathlon bio and the year of birth or whatever.
right.
Um,
But
yeah,
yeah,
he
you've
might have
been.
just turned 26.
So he was, Dar was part of the kind of Chase McQueen, Seth Ryder group that came through, right? Through, were they Project
Yeah,
Podium altogether?
Seth Seth wasn't. They all raced juniors together.
Right.
Chase and Dar, and then Austin Hinmond.
Yeah.
He's not racing anymore, but those three were kind of definitely part of that group. And then I think more people just kind of kept younger guys kept influxing in, and I think the group was a thing, a couple years before them even. I'm not well versed on my history of Project Podium, but
No,
uh,
not part of your not part of your
yeah,
entry, I guess. But equally, so this will be your third under 23 world champs coming up in Torremolinos. That will be your third and final U23s. You've done ninth, you've done eighth in Pontevedra, back in Spain. You'll be one of the more experienced in there this time, and they're always just a very interesting, unpredictable race, aren't they?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, but then you also have just some, I know Dylan McCulloch's on it.
Mm.
Uh, he did pretty well in Weihai, pretty well in Paris. And then a plethora of other, he's such a strong swim biker, and there's a couple other guys, and lots of guys from last year's podium and then the year prior that podium. So I think it's a bit more stacked than it was last year. Just I think you had a couple guys that wanted Olympic points, so they didn't race it. Um, and then this year it's just fight for the title. So yeah, I think it'll be super super competitive. And then just like you said, there's always some guys that just haven't had the start list opportunities really, and they'll come out and have a spectacular day.
Yeah. Yeah, Mitch Coltman, I guess, is one of those sort of slightly more experienced of the
Yeah,
young'uns.
pretty good
Pitados,
swim
the
bike
Greek
too.
guy,
So
Greek Panagiatos, who, yeah. Well, and Conor Bentley sort of defending his title. But there's
yeah,
also, which I don't think there was in Pontevedra or Abu Dhabi, right? The junior U23 mixed relay world champs. They didn't,
no,
it wasn't on the schedule.
yeah, they did it at juniors, and juniors was just separate the last 2 years. So hopefully I do well enough in the individual and get a spot on that team. That'd be really fun. Because I did the relay in Hamburg, and we were kind of on the back foot pretty early. So that was just like a solo effort, but it'd be fun to do a relay and really try and be in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then all of this is just ultimately building towards what would be a phenomenal home games in LA, right? And trying to pitch your way towards that. I know there was perhaps like on reflection, a very outside shot of going in as an alternate to Paris, right? But
Yeah,
just the very fact that you were knocking on the door or considering being a part of that conversation is
totally.
quite something, anyway.
Yeah, it was super cool because you get kind of included in a couple emails where they're sending all the data of whatever, letting
Yeah,
hey, pics are going to be made in a week or whatever. And I mean, uh, yeah, I was talking to my parents and I was like, same thing like I had said 3 or 4 years ago. If you had asked, oh, are people thinking about me? And not that I was really in the mix, but just to I guess kind of be in that conversation of, oh yeah, maybe you could go to the Olympics as an alternate or whatever. Um, yeah, it's just pretty insane. And super cool, and I'm honored to be a part of that. But um, yeah, hopefully just continue to build momentum. There's a lot of lot of good guys older than me from the US right now, and then there's a lot of very talented and hardworking juniors and guys younger than me. So um, yeah, I think it'll be super competitive, but yeah, I mean, hopefully the guys that get to go really earn the spots, and you know, I hope we're fighting for medals in LA and not you know, home games. We got to show up.
What a time it would be to be that first male Olympic at US
Indeed.
medalist, man. So you spent a lot of time in California. Is that the area that they're earmarking as the course? Is that somewhere that you're sort of vaguely familiar with?
I did. They've had a Connie Cup there the past couple years, and I did that. But that's it, definitely more like that was in Long Beach, and that was a bit further south than where I was living. Uh, we were up in Ventura, which would be really sick if they moved the course, but I don't think they will. Um, but yeah, I'll be interested to see. Uh, you know, probably not my favorite course for these Connie Cups, but I'm sure they can play with it and make it uh, pretty awesome. I don't know if it's going to quite be Eiffel Tower and Champs-Élysées, but uh, California's California's pretty awesome too, and so hopefully they can put their own spin on it and make it cool.
Yeah. All right. So what are we? It is the 1st of October today. 17th is your race day, midday out in Torremolinos, Spain. That's the target. So a couple more weeks in France, and then weekend out there.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Yeah. See you in Spain.
For sure.
Yeah. Bye-bye.